What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Ralph's Real Review, where today we are going over the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh. There's a couple of Winnie the Pooh movies, so this is the first one from the 70s that we are going to go ahead and get into. I am using a different camera. Pretty soon I'm going to be trying to upload with a different microphone as well, and not just using the camera's mic. So we're making some changes here. I'm trying to get a teleprompter. I'm trying to get some things working. So some things might be late as I try to figure all this stuff out. But thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. We are trying to get to 50 subs still on YouTube, but we're getting very close to that, and then 200 on TikTok and 50 on Instagram. So let's go ahead and get straight into the reviews. It's exactly what the title says, right? You have Winnie the Pooh in the 100-acre woods with a bunch of his friends, and they're going on adventures. One doesn't necessarily have much to do with the other. So yeah, you're just following Winnie the Pooh through these adventures. It feels very much like an anthology. So in the animation department, we have The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh at 9. It is right ahead of the Aristocats and right behind the Three Caballeros. I liked the animation in this movie quite a lot. I felt like the colors were very vibrant. I felt like the animation of the characters in the book and how they played with that was a lot of fun. And then finally, I felt like the Heffalump song was very, and that whole sequence was very reminiscent of the Pink Elephants on Parade. I would argue it's almost copying it because it really feels like the same section of the movie. But if I'm going to say that Dumbo did it, I think Winnie the Pooh upgraded it. So that's why I have it definitely ahead of the Aristocats. I don't feel like it did anything too like marvelous to put it above Fantasia and the Three Caballeros. Like those movies, what they did with animation, the Three Caballeros, it was innovative, combining it with live action. Fantasia was using animation in a way to tell a story with music. I thought that it was a unique use. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh I thought also was a unique use, but not to that level of uniqueness, which is why I have it at 9. Moving into the storytelling section, I have The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh at 14. I have it ahead of Alice in Wonderland and right behind Robin Hood. And I think the main reason that I don't love the anthology nature of these movies, I felt like I had to put it with Alice in Wonderland because I felt the same way about Alice in Wonderland. And then it was really a question of which one would I want to see again more. And I just thought Winnie the Pooh, again, I do believe it has a shorter runtime than Alice in Wonderland. I think it's more enjoyable overall. So yeah, even though Alice does kind of follow one big moral to the story, I found The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh to be a more fun story to continue to revisit. So that is why I put it slightly ahead of Alice in Wonderland at 14. Characters, this is where Winnie the Pooh is really going to shine. Note for my next video, I gotta turn the screensaver piece off because right now I could like see myself, and after 2 minutes it just turns off. So I have Winnie the Pooh at 2 when it comes to characters, right behind Peter Pan. And really the only reason I couldn't put it higher is because Peter Pan has like 3 like all-time characters. I think Peter Pan in and of himself is a very iconic character. Tinkerbell obviously has not only been iconic to Peter Pan and what that movie is, but Tinkerbell has become her own thing in and of itself. She has her own series. She's on all the stuff. Like she's kind of become synonymous with Disney on her own. And then you have one of the great all-time villains in Captain Hook. So it's hard for me to put anybody in Winnie the Pooh above all 3 of those guys. But then when you look at just the sheer ensemble of characters in Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin, Piglet, Tigger, Eeyore, Rabbit, Kanga, and Roo, Owl. There's so many, and they're all kind of beloved. I also think the staying power of Winnie the Pooh has proven itself, right? So because it's such a big ensemble, because the characters, and again, like I think most of them, like Piglet has had his own movie, Tigger has had his own movie. People love these characters, and I think for good reason. So I'm going to go ahead and put Winnie the Pooh at 2 when it comes to characters. For the Disney factor, I'm putting Winnie the Pooh at 3. My girlfriend actually made the best point here. A lot of these movies seem like they were made for all audiences. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh definitely felt like a child's movie, right? Like this felt like a kid's movie. And when it comes to the Disney factor, I know that Winnie the Pooh is obviously like the book. It was based off the books. I understand that. I don't know that people know those books nowadays without this character. So the way that Disney kind of brought Winnie the Pooh to life and gave it that iconic status, that is like what Disney is synonymous with when it comes to making movies. That's why I have it so high. Obviously, like the princess factor of Disney keeps Cinderella and Snow White above it. But when it comes to just feeling like a good child Disney movie, Winnie the Pooh kind of is unique in that way. There's not really much undertone. There's not really too many adult jokes. It just feels like a good kid movie. So Winnie the Pooh. Oh yeah, and then of course the use of animation and music, because there's plenty of music in Winnie the Pooh. I'm going to get to that in a second. 3 at that spot. When it comes to music, I do have Winnie the Pooh at 13. I have ahead of Fantasia, just ahead of Fantasia, and just behind Robin Hood. Winnie the Pooh to me suffers from too much music, and there's a lot of movies in this early section that do that. I just finished watching The Wizard of Oz, getting ready for Wicked, and I feel like at the early part of it, now this is still like 40 years after The Wizard of Oz, right? But I just realized that there was this over-reliance on music for some of these movies, and I feel like Winnie the Pooh suffers from that. The theme song is obviously iconic, and I think that there might be another song or two. Tigger's introductory song I really like, but there's like some songs that's just like, it's not necessary and it's not fun, and it's like at a certain point it's like, all right, enough. I've had enough. So because of that, I do have it right behind Robin Hood. I might think about changing that. I think Robin Hood does have like a song or two that I don't like. Winnie the Pooh has a lot, so that is why it's there. I'll see about flip-flopping that. You can flip-flop it if you want, but I think actually Winnie the Pooh at 13 sounds good. Box office success. So I have an asterisk next to this because I could not find much information about, matter of fact, I couldn't find any information about the box office success of Winnie the Pooh. When it came to Winnie the Pooh, it was like a double feature with another Disney release at the time. I was able to find a box office number for that. I could not find anywhere on the internet any box office numbers for Winnie the Pooh. So essentially what I did was I took the box office numbers from the double feature, since both of those movies were viewed in tandem, and I just kind of gave it to Winnie the Pooh. So, and on top of that, the returns were kind of low. So Winnie the Pooh comes in at 22 here, with an asterisk at about $11.1 million. If anyone has any information on that, I will take it. But right now, that's where it lands, which is the lowest of all the box offices adjusted for inflation. Finally, we have historical significance, where I do have Winnie the Pooh at 5. Like I said before, Disney has come back to this well so many times, not just in like the character remakes, the character film sequels. There you go, sequels. But they came back to it with the live action. It does have a sequel, like a direct Walt Disney animated sequel. They do have the ride in Magic Kingdom. They do have a restaurant that is kind of, I don't want to say it's dedicated to Winnie the Pooh, but the Winnie the Pooh characters do come out for the meet and greets in this restaurant. So there is a lot of historical significance behind Winnie the Pooh in terms of how the company continues to use it. I just don't feel like it rises to the level of those above it. And again, we're getting to the point now where you have heavy hitters, and the Renaissance is going to come up and move some of these things around. But when you look at, the movies above it, Peter Pan, The Jungle Book, Cinderella, Snow White, those are just iconic movies that did a lot. And again, if you want to see what I'm talking about in terms of those movies specifically, go back to their reviews. That's the whole point of the series. But yeah, Winnie the Pooh has its own staying power for sure, and I'm going to go ahead and put it at 5, which then takes us into our tiers. And I felt, so again, let's eliminate the extremes, right? A movie for everyone, I don't think so. I think adults might find themselves bored with this movie in and of themselves. Like, I wouldn't just tell a grown man in his 40s, like, yeah, dude, go watch Winnie the Pooh, it'll be great. Definitely not skippable. There's enough good there, and it's a big enough deal for Disney people that it's not skippable. Moving into the next two, right? You have movie fans and diehards. Looking at the diehard section of this movie, I think that it's iconic enough and good enough to warrant itself above the Die Hard section, which really then leaves us between Disney fans and movie fans. And for me, I'm going to go ahead and put The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh under the umbrella of Disney fans. And the reason that I'm doing that is, again, this movie feels very kiddie. Obviously, if you are a Disney fan, this is a movie that you would enjoy watching. However, when I look at the movie fan section of this, like, there's enough to not like to put it up there, right? Like, the characters are great, the animation is great. That's going to be stuff that's good for Disney fans. I think it's, again, very childish. I think that the stories are disjointed in that storytelling section, so there's really nothing to do unless you're just trying to hang out with these characters per se. And then you have the music, which I feel like is overdone and might take some people out of the movie going back and watching it. So because of all those reasons, I do have Winnie the Pooh at right at the edge there between movie fans and Disney fans, but it is definitely for Disney fans. And that is going to do it for this review of The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. If you have not yet, please subscribe, comment, like, share it, all these things. We are going through, if you don't know, we're going through all of the Walt Disney and eventually Pixar animated movies and doing these rankings for them, putting them on a tier list so that we could kind of come up with a definitive list of the best of the best. Moana 2 is coming out this weekend. I'm not going to, or I guess next week technically, but I'm not going to post that review instantly until I get there in the course of all these movies. But go ahead and subscribe so that you can know when that goes up. That's it. I'm done. Thanks, guys. Bye.